Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Say Wallahi Podcast. This is Muhammad again, and Muhammad across from me as well. Or his joke going on saying Muhammad and Muhammad. So
in Somalia we call him Muhammad with the ha.
And then when it's not speaking Somali, it's Muhammad. So today's introduction, basically, we're just welcoming everybody back from the previous episodes of the podcast. Before we get into any major discussions, we're going to run through kind of what we established in last week's episode, where we're going to kind of cover a few current affairs that are happening within Somalia, some topics that may have been covered in the news that you may have not noticed, but just to bring it to your attention. Thus far, one of the things I wanted to highlight that I came across was that in Somalia, in Mogadishu, Hamar, they just had their telecom technology and education conference expo in Somalia, where they promoted a lot of more than 60 exhibitors from telecom, technology, education, and government sectors gathered in Mogadishu, the expo, to demonstrate new products, services in their respective fields. From October 16th to the 17th, they basically had a whole gathering of all these different companies, different groups, and they're discussing technology and communications, and they had that expo. In my mind, when the news covers, my personal opinion, when the news covers Somalia, if you just Google Somalia right now, all the news will cover is a lot of, which rightfully so, they'll cover some terrible news, a car bombing or something that happened in Hamad, and it doesn't really highlight any of the good things that are happening in Somalia. And I personally would rather choose to focus a little bit, kind of uplift our people a little bit and highlight some of those things that are not, they're overlooked a bit. Several months prior, in the same capacity, on International Girls' Day, the ICT Day, they had been celebrated on April 26th of this year in Mogadishu. They had the same celebration in Mogadishu, but it was more so centered around girls, Somali girls, women in technology in the field. Right, and they basically were trying to combat the circumstances that they had about 1,200 graduates in 2017 from 23 different universities across Puntland, Banaadir, Southwest Somalia region. Only 9% of those graduates were female, so they wanted to kind of combat that and kind of basically recruit more students and more women and more individuals in the area in Hamad, in Mogadishu, again, an area where to the general public has a stigma of being, terrorists, women down type of thing, has that stigma attached to it. In that atmosphere, it's kind of counterintuitive to that. They have all of these great things that are happening that aren't really highlighted, promoting education with women and things like that. That's the part of the news that I wanted to highlight briefly. In addition to that, another bit of news that's probably in a large scale bigger is the fact that Somalia got elected, along with a few other countries, got elected into the UN Council for Human Rights. That happened recently, right? Just this year, a few months ago, they got elected into it. Around every 5 years, they get reelected. They have new countries that are assigned to it. But Somalia is the first time they've ever been in that category. With that, a lot of people had a lot of controversy against Somalia. They're like, how can you have Somalia be in the human rights group along with all these other countries too, Eritrea and every other country they had in there? They said, how can you guys have these countries in this group, human rights, when they have their own human rights violations? How can you do it? In my mind, the way that I viewed it, I said,
which country doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. Like, every country has their own issues that they deal with, and for the most part, when they say human rights violations, the terminology that the UN uses, it's more so, is the government imposing violations against its citizens and its conglomerate. That's the type of, and Somalia relatively has had a good track record so far dealing with its citizens fairly and balanced type of way. Some other people might make the argument that journalists might have not had the best run of luck in Somalia, but that's just, those are some of the news that I wanted to bring up, current affairs. And it's crazy.
waxyaalaha qaldan iyo waxyaalaha xun ama waxyaalaha dhibaatooyinka ka dhaco wadanka already waxaa ka hadlabo news kasto iyo idaacad kasto arintaasi ka hadasha idaacad ma jirto dhehayso dhageystayaal soo dhawaada maanta waxaa dhacday arin fiican dhacday oo saasi waxyaalaha fiican oo dhacdooyinka fiican iyo waxbarashada hadda meesha sheegaysay isku imaaday ijtimaaca isku imaaday oo laga hadlayo muxuu ahaa technology-ga iyo horumarka wadanka dhinaca telefoonka iyo dhinaca technology-ga waxaas dhan laga hadlayo news badan
they won't focus on that
because waxay u arkeen inay tahay wax oo regular amal like waxun markuu dhaco already
they blow it up out of they choose to focus on that a lot. I personally, and this may speak to the podcast at large, we want the audience to know that we're not choosing deliberately to ignore some of the terrible bad news that's happening in Somalia. That's not me personally. That's not Mohammed can speak for himself here shortly, but me personally, that's not what we are doing here. We acknowledge some of the terrible things that are happening. We will discuss some of the terrible things that are going on in Somalia in future current events, but I personally choose to kind of focus on some of the more overlooked aspects to Somalia. Bad news spreads faster than good news. It's the reality of human nature, I guess.
Absolutely.
So in my mind, I want to focus more so on that a bit.
waxa kale faa'iidada kale keenayso waxa waaye marka saas u binayno ka hadlayno waxyaalaha fiican taas waxay keenaysaa in dadkeena iyo dhalinyarada oo ka maqan Soomaaliya oo anaga ka mid nahay dhalinyarada badana oo Soomaaliya ka maqan oo wadanka ka maqan hadii dhageystaan kaliya Soomaaliya waxa laga sheegayo from the international news or from the global news clear if that's only your source then you have a really really bad view of Somalia. You have a country or baba'san waxaa haysaa wadan oo maalin kasto dil iyo dhac iyo buuq ka socdo taas maskaxdaada galayso wadanka laakiin khayraadka iyo waxa fiican ka socdo iyo horumarka ka socdo dhan ma arkaysid marka anaga shaqadeena inay noqotaa in aad dadkeena iyo walaalaheena meel kasta joogaan inaan u sheegno war wadanka saa u moodid ma aha saa u moodid wadan Soomaaliya waa wadan muxuu ahaa dadka degan intaasoo milyan lagu sheego half of dadka degan waa 14 million 15 million half of the 15 million 7 million people waxay haystaan telefoon haystaan mobile payment system telefoon
it's the leading in the world
hadda anaga Mareykanka joognaayo Apple Pay iyo
just not a lot of grocery stores have it and places have it. It's limited.
wax cusubina la tahay waxayna la tahay oo horumar weyn dhacay
money transactions are kind of new.
Soomaaliya baadiyaha maamada joogto telefoonkeeda lacagteeda u soo dhaca waxaas dhan see ku socotaa infrastructure-ka iyo systemkaas socdo yaa suubinayo dad waxaa suubinayo Soomaali company-yaal waxaa suubinayo Soomaali waa success stories left and right muxuu ahaa horumar oo fiican dadkeena gaarooyin without iyagoo haysanin dawlad adag oo central oo ilaalinayso
provide that security and
safety dawladdaas iyadoo wali jirin iyo ummadeena iyo dadkeena are innovators we soo saarooyin muxuu ahaa wax oo u fiican ummadda imagine marka haddii aad ku darsan lahayn dawlad hagaajisan ama ilaalinayso xuquuqda dadka marka waa kugu raacsanahay anaga current eventing marka ka hadlayno we're not going to repeat the line of CNN.
You can find that anywhere. You can find all the bad news you want anywhere else. We kind of want to just a bit again, we're not ignoring it, but it's deliberate in our nature that we want to kind of highlight some things that are overlooked. You can find all the bad news you want. You literally right now, if you Google Somalia and sort it by news, your first page hits are all going to deal with negative or something bad that happened. You'll have to go deep to try and find one little ounce of good news that happened. And I just wanted to highlight some of these because some of the narratives that are perpetrated by the world news is that Somalia suppresses its women in Hamad and things like that. And we want to kind of tell people, hey, they had an International Women's Day of educational conference and computer sciences and things like that. Somalia is moving in the right direction. That's kind of just what I wanted to highlight.
Absolutely.
A lot of good news.
waxbarashada muqdisho kaliya inta jaamacado ku taalo muqdisho kaliya waddan magaalada muqdisho kaliya
just the capital, just forget the general population.
inta jaamacado ku taalo 5 ilaa 9 jaamacadood ku taalo 9 jaamacadood universities oo ku taalo muqdisho dhexdeeda magaalada city limitkeeda kaliya gudaheeda muxuu ahaa tell me the equivalent of that in waddan oo Arab for example where hal magaalo ay leedahay 9 jaamacadood
it's crazy
Riyadh ba iska leh 9 jaamacadood
no it's crazy
muxuu ahaa and you can
go on and on with it
so marka anago challenges badan heysano
we're still prioritizing education
we are still going we're living life we're dadka waddanka joogo are inventing they are making it easier for them to
move on to the next level
yes for example the other thing technology wise we jump from the technology we don't take technology as it goes so, example hadda wacdid your local internet company and you say fiber optics network fastest internet possible fiber optics is the fastest.
The cables that run underneath
they're the fastest you know faster than can hadda jiro hadda wacdid local company in Minnesota in Seattle
Comcast,
you know what they say hadda company if you're a company we can offer this for you with this and this but if you're a residential we have not rolled it out yet guriga hadda ku rabtid we didn't roll out this yet to the xaafadaha Muqdisho laba company ila 3 company waxay ku tartamaan fiber optic networks
wow specific
fiber optic networks ku tartamaan ma laga maqlo waxyaalo kale waa fiber optics waa internet araba internetka tan ugu fiican arabna we jump straight to technology
there's no build up it's just hey we're here at the end of the chapter
we didn't start from dial up we didn't start from internet dial up you know dial up wax loo yaqaan Somalia dial up internet ka hore oo 2000 iyo isticmaali jiray telefoon qaraaco
no it's beautiful no and these are just a host of things that we want you to go and encourage you to go and look after and figure out for yourself
and at the end of the day it makes the person qofka oo Soomaaliga oo dhageysanayo muxuu ahaa idaacada hadii tahay idaacad negative oo dhageysanayo waxay ka dhigaysaa qofkaas inuu waddanka ka cabsado oo waddanka aadin oo soo booqan
it scares them away and this at least kind of it doesn't give you an inferiority complex it tells you hey you have a people and your people are doing well and don't believe the hype that we're messing up
don't believe the negativity
exactly
don't be all hype but also be realistic at the same time ugu waddankaaga inuu waddan socdo yahay dadkaaga inay yihiin dad
hard working and pushing forward
buuqa iyo waxa socdo waa wax socday for a while wuuna soo dhamaanayo
inshallah so when we come back here Mohammed is going to do the introduction and do a bit of a review of what we kind of covered last week before we get into the major points of today we'll be back shortly
ربي بمعبود حقه مران لانيدي ربي بان مدني مذي سوغا مراك عيناي ربي بان مساواد لهين للا مسياي ربي بان تشبيه نقا مدنين أما سمثالي ربي بان مدو سوغا تأويل معنين كاريني ربي بان مصيبة يا خير مامول ووضعي ربي بان مدوك وقدر مار الله
the Say Wallahi Podcast so Mohammed where did we kind of leave off last week kind of some of the things that we established last week before we get into the larger points of this particular episode just a little refresher course
last episode waxa ka hadalnay arinta Soomaalida horta hore waddanka iyo dalka muxuu ahaa hadalka ugu horeeyay ama hadallada ugu horeeyay laga heeyay iyo dadka ugu horeeyay waddanka soo mareen ama cilaaqadooyinka isla lahaayeen Soomaalida iyo dadka waddankaas degnaayeen dalka degnaayeen muxuu ahaa timeline ahaan goormi ahayd mogtahay so waxa ka hadalnay tusaalo
the earliest
faraacinada muxuu ahaa imaan jireen so we established that in cilaaqo oo bacmishtar ah iyo business in jiri jirtay Soomaalida iyo
there's always a trade and a commercial hub Somalia had always had a strategic location that always dealt with business and trade in that area
wadamada la xiriireen waxa kamid ahayd Egypt oo xabshi suud boqorada la dhaho oo kamid ahayd faraacinada Egypt waxay soo booqatay the land of Punt and this is 2000 around 2200 years ago.
Awesome.
So 2000 oo sano ka hor waxaa haynaa historical
History.
evidence haynaa oo sheegayso inay dalka Soomaaliya la dhaho inay dad degnaan jireen oo dad kaliya badow ma aha oo yani iska degnaan jireen oo iska socon jireen oo iska guuriyaan from one place to another place.
They were settled.
dad degani ahaayeen oo business relationship la lahaayeen dawladaha adduunka markaas haysteen. Ogtahay marka waxaa ka mid ahayd Egypt ka mid ahayd waxaa kaloo ka hadalnay nin oo Greek Roman oo imaaday areadas oo
They wrote a book about the Papyrus Sea. It was the mercantile. I don't mean to cut you off. It was the mercantile, yeah. He was kind of basically making a Google Maps of that era for merchants of where they can go and where they can document. And one of the places that he touched base were the ports of Zaila in Somalia and other areas. Kind of he touched base on those places, and that's kind of what we reviewed a little bit last week.
And taas waxay ku tusaysaa marka that's what we reviewed and casharka ka qaadanay conclusionka ka gaarnay ama casharka ka qaadanay waxay tahay Soomaalinimada ma aha wax Arab kaliya ku xiran. Abtiriska Soomaaliyeed iyo ummadda Soomaaliyeed ma aha dadka imaadeen Arab kaliya. Sababtoo ah haddaad dhahdid Araba ka imaanay marka wadankaas
you kind of erase erase so much history.
Dadkaas ka hadlayno oo cilaaqad baacmishtar la lahaayeen Egyptian-ka iyo oo muxuu ahaa Greek Roman-ka ka qorayaan buwaagta ka qorayaan meeshaan waxaa ka socday business deals ka socday oo magaalooyin waaweyn oo Zaylac iyo muxuu ahaa Xaafuun iyo dhulkaas dhan oo 2000 oo sano ka hor buwaag laga qorayay 2000 oo sano ka hor buwaag laga qorayay la dhahayay dadka meeshaas degan waxay gadi jireen
what did they used to trade in ivory, gold, all these different things that they used to do. So yeah, it basically we kind of established that Somalia was a region that had a history long before the advent of Islam and Arab influence.
Marka tusaalena waxa kaloo ku sii dari karna arinta saxawaa Soomaalida cilaaqad waxay la lahaayeen Egyptians-ka cilaaqad waxay la lahaayeen bacmishtar Indians oo India ka imaanayaan muxuu ahaa waxay cilaaqad la lahaayeen Persian Empire because Persian Empire the Sassanid Empire la dhaho waxay xukumi jirtay leenka oo businesska oo ka socda dhinacaas iyaga awood lahaayeen mugtaa iyo Carabta before diinta Islaamka boo Carabtu imaan jireen meeshaas oo laakiin waxay u imaan jireen sida muxuu ahaa Egyptians-ka sida Indian-ka
just to do business
and sell and trade mugtaa tusaale marka waxyaalaha ka heno marka waxa kamid ah influence-ga markii saas isla shaqeeyaan iyo wax isdhex galaan iyo wax kala gataan
they build a history and they build a history and custom and rapport and relationship
and
with
they
each
influence each other's culture marka tusaale waxaa laga hayaa Egyptians-ka had an impact on Somalida by you can language wise and culture wise they had an impact on Somalia because they've been trading together for so long marar mugta tusaale ku siinaa marka based on the research waxa aragnay barkin barkin
pillow right
pillow so Somalida oo hore waxay haystaan hadda aadid Somali museum
that little thing that sticks up right? I don't know what it's called wooden where they lay their head down right afrodooda dheeratay afrodo timaha ay ku ilaalinayaan timahooda ilaalinayaan habeenkii markay sameeyaan inay jajabin so qoorta la saaraa and baalka alwaaxa oo pilowda muxuu ah qoorta la saaraa Soomaalidu ku seexan jireen marka magaca barkin Egyptians-ka hore baashas laftigeeda barsin ilaha no barsin ilaha and the exact same style made and makeup exact same style so that kind of established there's a relationship and there's a connection there's things that were happening with them
either Somalida and bahasha soo saartay oo ka gatay Egyptian-ka ama muxuu ahaa Egyptian-ka keeneen Somalida ka qaateen so marka it tells you
the relationships of the world at that time and period
arinta kale research-ga waxa jirto meel la dhaho Soomaaliya hadda ku taalo oo baaba'san oo archeological waxa waaye archeological place waa qubuur oo ku taalo meel la dhaho Salweyn Soomaaliya ku taalo qubuur waaye laakiin qubuur caadiga ah saa u naqaan anaga qubuurta hadda ma aha
it's not the regular Islamic way of like a marked little thing on the floor grave good man
ma aha sida u egtaa waxa taala Salweyn al meesha waxay ku taala hadda gobolka la dhaho Sanaag gobolka Sanaag waxay ku taala waa dhul oo buur camal ah hill camal waay buur camal waay qabriga dhan waa buur camal
Okay.
1880 around 1880 nin British ah markii qabsanayeen Ingiriiska dhulkaas waxay qodeen qubuurtaas qabri kamid ah qodeen waxa lagu dhex arkay marka qabriga la qoday waxa lagu dhex arkay meedkii la duugay iyo alaab.
So they're like the pharaohs, pretty much.
Absolutely.
So they took the customs, the burial customs,
the burial customs were similar.
A similar connection. So there's so many different connections that I had no idea between the ancient world in Somalia and Egypt and all these other places.
In Hindidana aku aadna marka. Hindidana maxaa kaloo ka baranay? Breeze is a staple Somali food.
Yeah.
It's been a staple Somali food for so long. Weligan ba breeze cuna jirnay. Breeze was one of the things Somalida cunaan. Laakiin breeze ma berna anaga breeze ma berna.
No.
Dhul lagu beero ma haysana. How is it possible marka wax oo anaga dalkeena ka bixin Moscow waa garanay Soomaaliya ka baxda.
A lot of it.
Laakiin breeze-ka how is it possible that breeze is so
a certain type
stable
of environment
that it doesn't even grow in wadankeena? Xagee ka keenay? Xagee lagu
trade in India
with Indians ka keeni jireen. Marka the whole point that we
what it boils down to is that
wadanka iyo dadka Soomaalida oo meesha degnaayeen war waa la dhaqmi jirnay anaga dad kale ummad kale waa la dhaqmi jirnay isla dhaqankaas la dhaqmi jirnayna we adapted some of the waxyaalihii noo keeni jireen anagana waxyaalaha siin jirnay mogtahay. That does not mean ina iga ka imaanay. That does not mean abtiriskeena iyo historygeena iyo lineagekeena ina iga ka imaanay. You know what I mean?
We have our own history, our own culture.
Absolutely. Therefore Arabta, as we're going to talk about today, Arabta fall in the same line. Yeah. They had trade with us, and after Deen Islam is so gartay, their influence got bigger because now we became to share one deen. Their influence got bigger and bigger in the culture of Somali people, but that should not translate into lineage and ancestry.
It should leave at sharing the same religion, and sometimes that religion will kind of bleed into culture a little bit sometimes, and you kind of share the same identity, because some people choose to recognize their religion as their identity of who they are. And you're supposed to treat every Muslim as your brother. There's no color, no shade. So if we are both Muslim, I'm going to treat you like my brother. So maybe that's where the lineage kind of got crossed a bit. Maybe that's where it got crossed. But yeah, no. And that kind of goes right into our discussion a bit here and what we're going to discuss right now moving forward. The first, it kind of touches a bit last week too, where we kind of talked about the first indicators of Islam, the religion, in the Horn of Africa. And most of this information that we're collecting today, we encourage you to go look it up as well, is this book called Recovering the Somali State, The Role of Islam and the Transitional Justice System. It's by brother Abdurrahman Abdullahi. It's an author. And basically, the contents, we have a timetable that we're working with, and it kind of discusses last week a little bit. We touched into it. The Muslim Abyssinia, the migration that happened when the Muslims were persecuted in Mecca and they're kicked out. Some of the Sahabas that left that area came across the Abyssinia Empire in the Horn of Africa, and that was 613 and 615, right? That just indicates when Islam kind of first,
very early.
What was that time frame you gave when the Prophet Muhammad was
Hijrada? Around 610 to 640 or 660.
So Islam was in the Horn. It was in that region of the world pretty early on in its infancy in that area. And to kind of further indicate the timetable for us here, the earliest masjid, the house of worship for Muslims in Somalia, is Masjid al-Qiblatain, which means the mosque of two Qiblas. It was established in 624. 624 it was established, and it have ruins and like an archeological site. It's in Zaila. It's in northern Somalia.
MashaAllah. It's a lot of history. As we read and look into the history, one of the main cities that keeps on coming back and into the research is Zaila. Zaila is the earliest town that we can basically Somalia ahaan aad dhihi karno. Before Deen Islamka, it was a trading hub. diinta islaamka markay soo gaartana waa kasaa
That's what
masaajidka
happened.
ugu horeeya oo
There's a masajid Qiblatain.
qiblatain
And that masajid, it was basically established. It was oriented to the northwest toward Jerusalem. It indicates like basically that area. Go ahead.
yeah in Jerusalem, you know what does that mean though? The diinta
Yeah. It didn't
diinta
have
islaamka
a-
markuu nabi maxamed sallallahu alayhi wasallam oo diinta muxuu ahaa dadka
Was
ugu
first
wareeyay
coming
inay
up.
ilaahay caabudaan ee salaad tukadaan markuu ugu horeysa looma tukanaynin
The
muxuu
Kaaba.
ahaa
Yeah.
kacbada looma jeesanaynin waxaa loo jeesanayay muxuu ahaa
Dome of the Rock.
ha masjid al-haram masjid
Masjid
al-aqsa
Actually,
muxuu ahaa ilaa ay aayadda kasoo degtay qur'aanka oo ilaahay dhahooyo
Kaaba
qad
specifically.
naraa taqalluba wajhika fi as-samaa falanuwalliyannaka qiblatan tardaaha waa nabiga maxamed sallallahu alayhi wasallam asagoo nool qur'aanku soo degooyo in Soomaaliya masaajid lahayd.
See that correlation?
You see how
You see how
markaas
old, how far back the roots go
Of
between
Islam.
Somalia and Islam, and maybe that's part of the reason why Somalia feels so connected towards Islam and saying that we're descendant from Arabs or we have some type of bloodline with Arab is because we were literally there from the beginning, the ground up type of thing. But we have to make the clear distinction between religion and culture. There's a differentiation that we need to kind of establish. Islam, just like how you said, before the first masjid in Somalia was oriented towards Jerusalem, not Mecca, before the Kaaba.
subhanallah
So what does that indicate to you? That indicates to you
when
that
the prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam was alive
We had
Somalis were Muslim.
you see this? We had some Muslim people in the Horn of Africa in Somalia. So it's these type of indicators are what we want to kind of bring to light a bit here, and to kind of further along the conversation a bit. We already established that Arabs and merchants, not just Arabs alone, Persians, Indians, Greeks, Romans, everybody was coming to Somalia to do trade, just like the rest of the world. Everybody was kind of busy with trade. To that effect, these Arab merchants that were localized in most of the coastal towns and coastal regions of Somalia, what made them stay? What made them kind of want to settle down and establish their own regional area? Religion has certain promotions that it does.
Right,
Every
so
religion,
because-
every religion has that promotion that it does. Right? You know what I'm talking
Right,
about.
yeah, because we talked on last week, we examined the trade routes and the relationship, like we said earlier, one of the relationships that Somali people had before Deen Islam was with Arabs,
Exactly.
including with Egyptians, and
Persians,
also Persians, and also
everybody.
Indians. So Arabs used to come for trade way before Deen Islam was so gotten, but they never
It never
stayed.
settled. Yeah,
They
it was
never
just in
settled,
and out type of
and
thing,
they
business.
didn't-
Yeah, and part of the reason why these merchants all of a sudden wanted to settle in the areas because they already have a rapport and a history with the local people, the Somali people. Now they have a religion. First, we shared a culture with you. We talked, we communicated, we did business, we did trade, we ate together, we did all of these things together. Now you have a religion that you want to promote. You have a religion that you want to kind of exchange ideas. You're already my friend. You already bought all these textiles and we traded goods. Now, okay, I just want to talk to you casually. Hey, have you heard of this Islam? This new religion that I'm practicing.
Plus, Deen Islamka actually travel iyo adduunka inaa aadid iyo meelo kale aadidbo diinta islaamku way
It
ka mid
promotes,
tahay
yeah.
waa sunna
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 waaye.
waaye inaa muxuu ahaa aabaxdid oo
Explore,
dhulka-
seek knowledge.
Exactly.
Seek knowledge and want to collect.
inaa wax raadisid lacagta muxuu ahaa bacmishtir inaa raadisid inaa muxuu ahaa wax baratid saa dhahday inaa muxuu ahaa diintana faafisid aad dadka diinta u sheegtid as you're traveling and as you see and so
Da'wah, right?
da'wah
Da'wah,
so
da'wah.
it promotes it.
Yeah, it promotes it.
And that's when
That's what the
reason-
coastal town. It was a perfect balance. And furthermore, the religion. It was not even a religion technically. It was just a belief system that ancient Somali people had at that particular time. That we touched on it last week a bit.
Wow.
Waq, the tenets of it, the Christian people had. It already kind of fell in line a little bit with what Islam already kind of had core beliefs. Waq had one deity. It had one God. Islam is one God. In addition to having one sky god and Waq, you also had the death, a moniker of death. Like death is guaranteed. That's what it is. So Islam kind of blended fluidly into the Somali society, into the coastal towns especially. Now, when you went further inland, like the more countryside within Somalia, Islam had a bit more growing to do, but it's still blended in with the Somali society at large easier. Now, why? The bigger question is, why were these merchants choosing to settle in Somalia, the coastal regions? It was also to do business and trade, but it was also, you have to look at the world stage and what was going on in the world at that time. And you kind of highlighted it a bit earlier. What was kind of going on in the world at that time when these Muslims were traveling and were they trying to escape some type of turmoil that was happening in their regions as well?
Right. So that's a very good question because researching anigana wuxuu ahaa ka isla akhrinayay oo another brother oo qoray the Arab factor in the Somali culture, Abdurrahman Hirsi qoray. One of the things that he also highlighted is to answer that question.
Yeah.
oo why Arabta ay u bilaabeen all of a sudden inay
All of a
degaan.
sudden, yeah.
awal we imagine sida Hindida iyo sida Egyptianska do business and then go back and sell what you bought from the Somali people back home. Why all of a sudden they stayed, like you said,
exactly.
Right? Diinta Islaamka markay soo gaartay Arabta, and we talked about faa'iidooyinka travelka iyo waxyaalahaas. On top of that, Nabiga sallallahu alayhi wasallam, if we study the Islamic history in general, Islamic history in general, Nabiga sallallahu alayhi wasallam waqtigiisa kadib afarta khulafaa ar-rashidin waqtigooda kadib Abu Bakr iyo Umar iyo Ali iyo Uthman mar kadib maxaa bilaawatay a dynasty bilaawatay, right? Umar did not set up a dynasty, Abu Bakr did not set up a dynasty oo Abu Bakr ciyarkiisa xukumayaan, laakiin afartooda markuu xukunkooda dhamaaday waxaa bilaawatay xukum dynasty yani hal family oo xukunka haysanayaan waa Umayyad empire,
pretty much an empire.
The exactly. Umayyad empire bilaawatay goorma ahayd 700 something ay bilaawatay. Umayyad empire marka they had a lot of people oo ka soo horjeedeen oo la jireen muxuu ahaa dad kale oo dhihiyaan anagaa xukunka qaadanayno oo kamid yihiin taabiciinta oo asxaabta ciyaalkooda Abdullah bin Zubair kamid yahay, muxuu ahaa dad badan oo la jireen Ali bin Abi Talib ciyaalkiisa inay xukunka haystaan oo degnaayeen dalka Carabta, Yemen degnaayeen, Oman dad degnaayeen.
So there's a lot of power struggles that
a lot of people ka soo horjeedeen dawladda Umayyada waqtigaas at that time marka dadkaas ka soo horjeedeen awoodooda iyo inay muxuu ahaa xukunka ay la dagaaltamaan Umayyad empire ma haysan Umayyad empire marka way baabi'in jirtay qof kasta ka soo horjeesto.
They should just basically it was a no holds bar. This is what it is.
Absolutely. Like muxuu ahaa
you're either in or you're out type of thing.
marka generalkooda ugu weynaa waa nin la dhaho Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf al-Thaqafi oo very interesting character in Islamic history. General wuxuu ahaa oo basically he was doing the job for the Umayyad empire. qofka ka soo horjeeda buu baabi'inay.
He was basically like a enforcer kind of
enforcer uu ahaa. Abdullah bin Zubair saxaabiga Zubair bin Awam wiilkiisa Abdullah bin Zubair ninkii dilay asaga waay oo lagu yaqaan yani inuu ahaa nin dadka ka soo horjeeda dawladda Umayya ka soo horjeeda xukunkeeda uu baabi'in jiray. Carabta marka ka soo horjeeday basically we ka soo ordeen dhulkaas ka soo ordeen.
They were basically escaping that type of turmoil and that strife that was going on. So that's just setting up the world stage of like what was happening, and part of the reason why these Arab merchants were all of a sudden choosing to settle.
They run away from Umayyad empire, and the closest place to run to if you're in Yemen, and closest place to run to if you're in Oman, Hawaii just to cross the
Red Sea and Somalia right there.
And in Somalia
and exactly, and to your point, I'm glad you brought that up. We actually have the timeline here, 632 to 633, the exiles of Rida, basically Rida apostasy wars. Exactly. From Oman, they settled 632 to 633. That's when they settled in Benadir. That's when they settled in Benadir. That's documented there when they migrated. And in 695, the migration from Oman, led by brothers Suleiman Said of Juland, to settle on the East African Zanj coast.
Zanj coast. So Zanj coast had there to this day, Zanj coast, Zanzibar right now in part of Tanzania. Zanzibar town they dress like Omaniyin to Ulbistan.
So it's all connected.
they say ancestor-wise there's a settlement and some people that live in Mombasa, hadar Mombasa, Kenya, oo dhahaan muxuu ahaa Manina ka imaanay. But like as
time goes on,
as that time markii soo ordayeen, markii waqtigaas ay soo qaxeeyeen, they didn't actually land on Mombasa because there's actually an argument that Mombasa didn't exist at that time.
At that time, yeah,
Magaalada Mombasa didn't exist at that time. So they probably likely settled in Zayla and then moved down south to Mogadishu. Hadar Mogadishu حتى waxay leeyihiin and ashraafta iyo Arab and khaba and muxuu ahaa Arab u eg adegan Mogadishu dhinaceeda. Zanzibar dhinacaasna markaa sii degsid buu sii aadadna way ku sii badan yihiin, way ku sii badan yihiin.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, and that's great. All these are facts that we can kind of point to in time, just to kind of give you a timeline of how things were progressing in Somalia at the advent and the rise of Islam. This just a highlight for you. And just like what you're saying, to kind of pinpoint it by year, the time frame says the year 700 is when the Umayyad Khalifa Abdul Malik ibn Marwan sends an expedition to the East African coast. It says to conquer Mogadishu and secure an annual tribute. Part of the reason why, some of the research that I was doing, part of the reason why they sent the envoy in the first place was because they got word and said, these are where all our people are kind of fleeing to settle and do business. You're obviously, if you're a dynasty in your kingdom, you're going to get curious and you're going to say, okay, what is this area doing and why are most people kind of congregating to this one area? There were some scholars at that time who wrote about that area in that era. The common consensus was that these are Arab hubs. These are towns that are Arab, they're Muslim, and that's what it is. They didn't view it, the world didn't view it as these are African Somali cities that Arab merchants are settling in. They were literally trying to view it, the scholars of the world at the time, before they visited Somalia, they were trying to view it as these are extensions of the empire. They're just literally settlements of Arab people. When the scholars came to Somalia and physically saw the view, they realized, no, these are ports, Zayla, Hamad, these are cities that are governed by Somali people, and that the Arab merchants were just there, like business as usual, like every town. You can't claim that a minority group all of a sudden would become a majority in a city. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
So when the scholars came, that's what they kind of figured out. They established that, and then that's when they realized, okay, so Islam is already kind of taking root here. The Somali people, they're already, we're already adapting Islam into our way of life.
Right. So I'll go into a tangent, or actually bring out build on the idea. You're right. So to say that Arabti, or basically
minority
merchants, from the research, they were basically political asylee.
Asylum seekers. If you look at it in modern day terms, they're asylum seekers. Literally, they're immigrants. It's like you saying the Italian immigrant population that moved to New York. All of a sudden, in that era, if right now you say, "Oh, New York was governed by Italians," how does that make sense?
Right.
It's not logical. But for some reason, you want to sit here and say, "Oh, yeah, Arabs were totally in control of cities and so on."
So I'll give you another ludicrous idea that so dadka dhiyaan meeshas Arab haystay waa outsiders Somalia oo Somali before they visited before Somalia dhulka loo dhaho aadan iyo arkin dadka meesha degan waqtigaas waxay dhahayeen xukunka waxa haysto Arab and muxuu ahaa meeshas Araba degan waa an extension of muxuu ahaa Arabta dhulkooda waaye and Mogadishu Zayla Araba degan Araba iska leh is dhahayeen Somalia markii aadaanna waxay ogaadeen inay meeshas dad kala degan yihiin oo Afrikaanka ka duwan Afrikaanka
governing themselves
and Arabna ahayn luqad goonina haystaan muxuu ahaa magac barbar dhahan u bixin jireen and way garteen markaas ogaadeen Somalia taas waa dadka oo Soomaalida ahayn Soomaalida laftigooda this idea of Soomaalida Arabay ka imaadeen is basically how ludicrous it is how ay u tahay idea oo yani lahayn asaas iyo foundation dhan lahayn
it doesn't have any
waa idea oo muxuu ahaa qurxinayso because waxay isku xireen
Islam
Arabnimada iyo waxa la isku xiray diinta Islaamka so haddaa Arabnimada ka agdhawaatid diinta Islaamka ka agdhawaanayso amali
that's the way some people view it
that's how so marka laba walaalo ama laba qof imaadeen oo qaxooti ahaayeen waa qaxooti basically qaxooti soo ordeen 700 oo ka soo ordeen carabta dhulka carabta iyo Umayyad Empire muxuu ahaa buuqa iyo dagaalka ka socday iyo ka soo horjeedsanayeen dowladda Umayya qaxootiga soo baxeen ka imaanaya dhehna when we say that marka I'm coming back to that point again. When we say
it's
that,
an important point to establish.
We are basically, when we say Araban Hanay, when we say there's two major qabilas ugahay or diyan abtiriskooda Arab waaye Isaaq iyo Darod. So ma abtiriskooda markii la dhaho Isaaq iyo Darod markii la wareysto waxay ku leeyihiin waxaan nahnay Sheekh Darod kadib yaa tahadaad ahdid Isaaq kadib yaa tahadaad ahdid waxay ku leeyihiin Araban Hanay not only Araban Hanayo waxaan nahnay Arabta guriga Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam Hashimina
Quraysh specific
marka so marka pointigaas is a very weak point where we probably adapted that idea because at certain time we associated being close to Arabnimo as being close to Dinta Islamka. When Dinta Islamka is not about Arabnimo, Dinta Islamka is not about abtiriskaaga hadduu Arab yahay waa ka fiican tahay qof kale. That's not the idea. Mogtahay Dinta Islamka laa farqa bayna ajamiyin wa arabiyin illa bittaqwa. Kama dhaxayso wax marka waxaasaan ugu jirtay waxaan ugu jirtay dad waxaan ugu jireen oo political ahaan ama siyaasad ahaan u arkeen hadda abtiriskeena dhahno Araban
will be more easily accepted and
or we might have a political
power
or influence
easier to align ourselves with the power that's be at the time and that's that's a larger conversation that we can have as well, just the whole conversation of Arab equates to Islam, just in the current world that we live right now, where people kind of view, if a TV show comes out right now and they say being Muslim in America, right now, they'll largely cast people that look Arab or from Arab descent. When Islam is Malaysia, there's no...
Indeed, Islam right now, the population of Muslims, Arab are a minority.
No, Islam is across the board. You go to Hajj, is represented all across the board. Every nationality you can be, every background you can be. And we're just providing a bit of context and time frame here of what Islam was doing at the time in Somalia and kind of giving you concrete evidence of to establish a time frame for you here. Moving forward, it just says here that 755, the Abbasids, Caliph
Al-Abbasiyya, Dawla Al-Abbasiyya,
Abu Ja'far al-Mansur.
Ja'far al-Mansur, yep.
Exactly. He appoints governors to collect taxes and supervise the teaching of Islam in Mogadishu. The important point here to make is that at this point in time in Somalia, people were mixing a lot. People were, doing businesses a lot. They're beginning to share a common language. Things were moving at an accelerated rate. At this point in time, we wanted to build mosques in Somalia. We wanted to move forward and kind of do business with Arabinti. And yeah.
One interesting thing that I want to say about that is, as you said, dadku isku dhex jireen because Araba soo degtay, Araba meesha imaadeen, Araba meesha ka shaqeynayeen, Araba meesha diin u imaadeen, waxbarasho u imaadeen, qaar waxay u imaadeen qaxooti ka ordayaan muxuu ahaa dagaalka dadkan way isdhex galeen soo maaha you know what's the interesting thing isdhexgalkaas iyo isku dhex jirka Carabta iyo Soomaalida iyo dadka kale oo ka imaanayeen wadamada kale oo bacmishtar u imaanayaan for the last 2000 years Soomaaliya u imaanayaan haddii dhaqanka Soomaaliyeed uu ahaan lahaa dhaqan weak oo daciif fiiriya dhaqan daciif hadduu ahaan lahaa oo adkeen or يعني
would have been washed away.
It would have been washed away.
It would have been. There would be no Somali language.
There is always firia. There is always laba dad markay isdhex galaan. When two ethnicities intermingle, there is always going to be one ethnicity that is going to go under the other ethnicity and dilute or baabeeso يعني.
Exactly.
And
it's just natural way, natural course.
So when Arabta markay imaadeen Somalia, which we proved in Arab badan throughout history, imagine in Somalia. Soomaalida meesha degnaa Arab iskuma bedelin dhaqankooda Arab ma noqon more luqadooda Carabi ma noqon
we still have Somali as a language
exactly muxuu ahaa luqadooda Carabi ma noqon and isku dhex jirka iyo isdhex guursadeen laakiin genetically iyaga xataa isdhex guursidii inuu batay oo carab ma noqon iyaga
Yeah, exactly.
yani colorkooda iyo sidii u egyihiin carab
We
caadi
still
ah u eg.
distinctly look African. So
It's more likely that Arabti imaadeen as Somalis the Arabs that came to Somalia became Somalicized
Boom.
instead of the
other
Somalis
way around.
becoming Arabicized. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no, I know what you're
And we
saying,
have
yeah.
more evidence. We have more evidence for the idea of the Arabs that came to Somalia becoming Somalicized, which is number one. Waxa waaye luqadeena luqad Soomaalida ilaa hadda ku hadloonaa
Exactly.
oo muxuu ahaa oo ka duwan Carabiga inkastoo Carabiga noo ahaa luqadda labaad inoo tahay luqadda oo Qur'aanka dugsi kasta ku barayna madrasada hadda waxa dhahday 700
Yeah, 755.
Bajacbal Mansuura wuxuu furay dugsigii basically oo dadka Qur'aanka lagu barayo meeqo how many years ago is that?
Yes.
That's 1300 years ago.
Exactly.
1300 years ago albilaw school madraso Qur'aan Carabi la barayo dadka.
Exactly. So basically what we kind of are establishing here is that in that context of the world, not even to get more specific into the Arab, just in general, the world stage, Somalia had always served as a hub for trade and business and things like that. Just so happens specifically, we had much more contact with Arab merchants and Arab traders and things like that of that nature. We're going to take a small break here now. And when we come back, we're going to continue the discussion a bit further.
rabbi baan maraykan iyo ruush mirir ku qateene mudduuse u qadareeyo inay madasha gaaraane aakhirana naaray muteen geliya molkeeda adiga mutaabacale iyo maxabba dheeraada mubtadica salliga diidan baa mudan cadabtiye allahumma salli ala sayyidina muhammad.
This is the Say Wallahi Podcast. We're basically going to continue on from where we left off before the break here. Timeline-wise, we ended at 755, the year 755, when Somalia began to establish a lot of mosques within the country, within some of the most important capital ports and locations. All you need to know, pretty much, from 755 to 1330, year 1330, a lot of mosques and Islam was integrating very well with the overall country of Somalia, its citizens, its denizens. Everybody was kind of adopting the religion of Islam, and it just flowed naturally. There wasn't a lot of resistance to it. There wasn't. It just flowed very well. And from this point on, we did touch base a little bit earlier about some of the scholarly points that people were making, but now we're going to come into contact with one of the, if not one of the most renowned scholarly individuals that were traveling the world at the time. It's a brother by the name of Ibn Battuta. He led a very unique life, and Muhammad here is going to highlight some of his exploits and some of the things that he described about Somalia, the people. Who is Ibn Battuta, by the way? Just to kind of...
Ibn Battuta is a Moroccan scholar / explorer / and qadi.
Nice.
He was a jurist as well. So this guy was born in Morocco, modern day Morocco, and Fas, is a historic town. When he was teenager, 17, around 17, 18, wuxuu ka tagay wadankiisa Morocco, and he came back 29 years later. 29 sano oo wuxuu ku jiray jidka oo wuxuu ka baxay Morocco gaarin almoot oo ogtahay meesha
just traveling on foot and
so
any type of
gela raaca and the travel distance is double and triple and quadruple basically. He covered most of the known world around that time. adduunka la yaqaano waqtigaas maxaa kamid ahayd adduunka isku xirnaa waqtigaas the Americas 1492 la discover garay. Ibn Battuta markuu rixladiisa aadayo uu baxooyo adduunka uu ka qorooyo wadamadu aaday, it's 100 or 200 years before 100 almost 200 plus
before,
because 1492 ahayd markii adduunaha kale ogaadeen Americas mogtahay 1300 is when Ibn Battuta is traveling and he's covering most of the known world. Europe, he writes about Europe. He goes to Kaaba iyo Hajj kala umru aada wadamada carabta badana most of them it describes it Oman u aada Yemen u aada from Oman to Yemen to China u aada to China to India Beijing and عاصمة China Beijing magaalada Beijing soo xuduudeedu gaara ma dhax galo uu ka soo noqonaa wuxuu aada Crimea hadda Crimea meesha Crimea area uu aada uu ka sheekeena so
basically yeah he's going
9 years Maldives dhulka uu aada hada
so everywhere in the world that was known he was trying to go to and trying to write about and discover it.
He covered twice the distance as Marco Polo.
Oh wow!
The guy,
that's well known. Marco Polo, yeah.
Marco Polo
twice as much. Wow.
Twice as much distance, which covered great. Anyway, so to our relevant topic, yeah. Somalia,
okay.
He has in his book. Actually, we have a copy of the exact book of Ibn Battuta.
Yeah,
and he dedicates 2 to 3 pages about his experience. So from
Aden 2 to 3 pages.
wadan kasto waqti yar siino yeah, but it depends on how his experience was
exactly, yeah.
and how long it was. So wadamada qaarkood wuu degay dumar ku guursaday and muxuu ahaa and settled had kids moved. You know what
it probably also even has to do with like the weather environment, what's going on. Some areas he can't probably get to because something calamity or war, something's happening. He'll probably just stop by Somalia a little.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for 1300 wuxuu imaaday Aden oo ka soo baxay 4 habeen oo socdeen doonta waxay ku soo degeen Zaylac
again
yeah moogta waa Zaylac ku soo degeen Zaylac markay imaadeen doontu saxdeen 3 bari doontu saxdeen sababtii doonta u saxdeen oo magaalada Zaylac u dhex gali waayeen wuxuu ku leeyahay waa magaalo ureyso oo ur ka buuxayo muxuu ahaa carafteeda ma fiicneen u tagay sababtana wuxuu ku leeyahay kalluun iyo carafta kalluunka iyo maalin kasto fishing ay subinayaan every day iyo muxuu ahaa geel maalin kasta qalaan magaalada luuq kasto geela lagu qoloyaa luuq kastana kalluuna lagu kala gadanayaa
so it's basically it's very is a busy area a lot of what is it called slaughterhouses and a lot of merchants are at butchers and things
so very healthy economy
things are moving
and because of that smell madegin magaalada kuma degin way sii socdeen muxuu ahaa waxay aadeen magaalada labaad ay aadeen muxuu ahaa waa Muqdisho Ibn Battuta describes Soomaalida dadkii yihiin wuxuu ku leeyahay waa dad oo Shaafici madhabkooda oo madow uu ku leeyahay
black
oo degaan so Ibn Battuta 800 years ago is saying dadka meeshan degan Arab ma aha
yeah they're black these are black people
Shaafici waaye madhab Islami waaye oo madhab Shafi'i.
He's not saying this is an Arab settlement that this is you know inhabitants are black but the majority government is Arab settlement. He's literally telling you as a non-partisan person, hey, these are black people ruling each other in this area.
Absolutely. Marka dhulkoodana wuxuu ku leeyahay dhulkooda waa masiirata shahrayn laba bilood socodka oo 2 bilood waaye uu ku leeyahay yani socodka iyo geelka safarka 2 bilood waaye from Zaylac to Muqdisho. Kismaayo markaas ma jirna dhici karto ama asaga inuu ogeena dhici karto ama inay Kismaayo wali markaas
he just heard of
because Kismaayo is much southern of Muqdisho hoos markii la sii aado
and farther down
further down so Kismaayo markaas inay jirna dhici karto ama inuu asaga ogeen laakiin wuxuu ku leeyahay from Zaylac to Muqdisho waaye Muqdisho markuu imaado uu ku degaa Muqdisho so he has most of his description about Muqdisho iyo sultaanka Muqdisho iyo sida loo soo dhaweeyay wax soo hadla we are going to be probably visiting this more in the next episode but like in the main point aan ka hadalno waxa waaye markuu Muqdisho imaaday don't la socdo waxay ahayd ma aha doon dalxiis la ah moogtaa meesha dalxiis wax loo iskama jirin so don't la socdo waa doon baac mushtari business right there's a lot of merchants who alab gadayaan from India from Arabaha
it's a commercial envoy like
uu raacay asaga uu la socdaa
you're headed that way let me hop a ride with you
yep saas uu raaci jiray degada Muqdisho markay imaadeen waxaa soo doon kasta oo degada Muqdisho ku soo degto waxaa soo korooyo dhalinyarada magaalada soo korayaan uu ku leeyahay dhalinyarada magaalada soo korayaan markaas waxay leeyihiin هذا نازلي which means this is my qofka ugu soo dego my resident this is qofka aniga igu soo dogayo kan aniga igu soo dogaya kan aniga igu soo dogaya kan aniga igu soo
I
dogaya
take ownership for this person. He'll be my
they
guest.
vouch for them
They'll vouch for them. Beautiful.
yeah ma iska imo ma aha wadanka iskama soo dhaxgali kartid
You basically have to have someone vouch for you being there and responsible. If you act out or do something, you're going to be responsible.
absolutely not only that a voucher system why and it's a special system that requires the merchant the foreign merchant oo rabo inuu muqdisho wax ka gado alaabtu keenay inuu muqdisho laga gado inuu rabo ma iska dhaxgalayo muqdisho alaabtiisa muqdisho dadka ka dhaxgado
What is he going to do?
waxa qasab ku tahay sharciga dadka muqdisho degan sultaankooda iyo ku wada heshiiyeen ay tahay qof kasta oo foreigner ah oo ku imaado meesha inuu rabo alaab inuu digo waa inuu dadka uu ku soo dagoyo uu ka gadaa qofka Soomaaliga ah
So
inuu ka gado waa
wait, so they prioritize the local merchant, Somali merchant in Mogadishu before trading with other people who are meeting there. What?
You as a foreigner cannot directly sell your product
To another foreigner that's meeting there. You have to go.
in the market. You cannot go into the market right away. In a don't kasoo degtid oo muqdisho suuqeed ina aadida dhahdid here's my name is Raj from India and I'm selling this ma dhihi kartid
So they keep him out at bay and then they meet him out there like, hey.
wala soo degina waxa leeyahay qofkan ku deg heblo ku deg Faarax ku deg Ciise ku deg muxuu ahaa Faaraxa ku degaysa Faaraxa gurigiisa alaabta dhan keenaysa Faaraxa ka gadaysa Faaraxa suuqa galoy
Wow.
Farah is getting a job basically
Yeah.
So the system this is 890 plus years ago.
Oh my God.
A Somali system kaas lahayd Mante today there is a lot of this is a way of making sure that your people are not being harmed by the globalization your economic and impact of foreign trade
Yeah.
an example is India not India I mean China today
Right now
one of the biggest disagreements between China iyo Mareykan maanta maxaa umtaa dawladda Mareykan waxay dhahaysaa China suuqeed ha furto our companies our tech companies suuqa ha furto you know what
that's one of the biggest disputes. Yeah.
You know what China's rule is? They're saying we're not denying Facebook to come to China and operate. We're not denying Google to come and operate
Apple
in China.
Or whoever, yeah.
But like in requirement to get Chinese kasta waa maxay qara dawladda Chinese.
Yeah.
Any foreign company in order for it to open business in China, they have to cooperate and work with another company Chinese.
Basically, they have to have a sponsor.
They have to have a sponsor. By you doing that, waxa dadkaaga waxa ka dhigaysaa you make sure dadkaaga inay that they're benefiting from this globalization iyo muxuu ahaa
There's nothing wrong with that. That's nothing wrong with that. You're basically guaranteeing that your people and your government and your companies will benefit from outside influences trying to help out your country. So it's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So
but that's fascinating that 800 years ago that was the relationship that Somali merchants were going. And further go on. What did Ibn Battuta say? Did he highlight anything else about like the local governments and the sultans?
Local government tiga horta hore he highlighted inuu sultan meesha muxuu ahaa
and sultan is just a term that basically also shows further the Arab Islamic influence in Somalia. Sultan is like a title.
أنا wuxuu ku leeyahay sultan Muqdisho kama dhakarnaahu ku leeyahay magaciisa waxa la dhahay ismo Abu Bakr ibn Sheikh Umar alle magaciisa taw qor waana Muqdisho asalkiisu ku leeyahay wa kalaamuhu bil Muqdishi ku leeyahay wa ibn Battuta waa Arab Somali
He doesn't know the language Somali
so luqadda wuxuu dhahay luqadda Muqdisho waa yeah
so he said the Somali language is Muqdishin because he just didn't know that Somalia
he just knows in luqad ka duwan tahay Arabiga and he added ويعرف اللسان العربي and he also knows Arabic sultanka Muqdisho asalkiisu waa ma aha Arabo ku dhahay af Soomaali af Muqdishidiisu ku hadlayay muxuu ahaa af Arabina wuu yaqaanaa and that's the description that he had he also had descriptions about the food cuntada loo keenay bris iyo wax ku jiro muxuu ahaa hilib iyo muxuu ahaa saddexda bari uu degnaa meesha uu joogay cuntada loo keenay xataa uu describe
he also witnessed the court proceedings and
a lot of stuff
we basically talk about and these are things that we just want to kind of touch a little bit on here on the Say Wallahi podcast, just to kind of give you an idea of what the culture and climate of Somalia was at the time. We will definitely go further into depth and detail, not only with Ibn Battuta's accounts of Somalia, but other scholars' accounts of Somalia as well. These are not topics, again, like what we said in the first episode. What did we say in the first episode? We want to give every topic the adequate, respectful amount of time dedicated to it. We don't want to seem rushed.
Right.
We don't want to push a narrative or an agenda. Everything is going to come with time, and every topic is going to flow into the next one.
Well, here's a interesting part. محوها عقليها الواحد من أهل المقدشو يأكل قدر ما تأكله الجماعة. halka qof oo ahl muqdisho ah kula wuxuu cunaa wax u dhigmo groupkeena wixii cunaan oo kule
He's trying to call us fat, man. But that's not too far out of place if you want to think about it. You're having all this trade and business going on. Of course, people are gonna want to sample the goods, man. People are gonna want. He said that what it was accounted for a group of us. One person, one Mogadishu. Listen, man, we were thriving. We were out here thriving. We were, mashallah. And also, it is probably out of place, but some parts of our research. At a certain point in time, Somalia was literally called, you can Google it, you can do your own research, was literally called the City of Islam at one point in time. So it's like, we were thriving, man.
I didn't know. I did not know, actually.
A lot of things I didn't know.
You're doing, I think, research, I'm doing research. وحيالها برتو حكمت محوها. How early did Islam so get?
Yeah, I had no idea that early.
The Qiblatain, the Masjid Qiblatain.
Before there was a Kaaba to pray to.
مكان لو تكنويو أو لو تكن جري مسجد الأقصى جيروسلم مركز ومركو النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ونولا وقرآن كسودقي Somalia زيلع صلاة لقيت established لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
And these again are things that concrete. You can go and do your own research and find out. The Zayla, the Masjid al-Qiblatain that we're talking about is not some mythological place. There's literally a dig site that you can go to and research, and it shows you the ruins of it. It might be a pile of rubble right now, but it's a literal place. And we encourage everyone, all of our listeners, to do their own research and own digging, because you'll find things that just make you say Wallahi, It's crazy. It's crazy. So, I think that will bring to a close our third official episode of the podcast. We've heard your complaints a bit, and we will be on iTunes as soon as possible. Right now, you can find us on SoundCloud, YouTube. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and all of these things. Please, follow us. Ask us any questions, any topics in the future that you would like for us to discuss. Let us know, and we'll take it in from there. Next week's episode, inshallah, what we're going to cover is more focused and detailed on the empires that came out of Somalia, the Islamic empires that came out of Somalia, i.e. like the Ajuran Empire, the Majeerteen Sultanate, all these different empires that came out of Somalia in cohesion with the rise of Islam in Somalia as well. The fact that Somalia had literal settlements in other countries, like colonized areas where they would have, a hub in India, a hub in China, a hub in Morocco, places where Somalia didn't have literal ports, and their excuse for it was, these are our areas that we feel safe and comfortable docking into foreign territory.
Like a consulate,
like an embassy, basically. So we'll touch base on all of these different things, and again, we appreciate your support, and like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time, inshallah. وسؤال تأويني ذلك يا إسكالي وسؤال تأويني ذلك يا إسكالي